I try to say, oh, no matter what you're bringing to the party here, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy you. If you're sad, happy, or whatever, we're going to sit here enjoying it.
Hello and welcome to the One Heart podcast, sponsored by One Heart, One Light. One Heart, One Light is an authentic, diverse community of men and women who have a background with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We choose to love and be loved unapologetically. At One Heart, One Light, we teach unique tools to apply Christ's atonement, and we are a bridge to becoming one with self, others, and God. As we like to say, One Heart, One Light exists to empower individuals to become one by reminding them of their wholeness. Come and be one with us. Today our guest is Marcus Ellsworth. Marcus is married with 4 children, and he teaches high school drama. Marcus has experienced his share of heartache and trauma throughout his life, and he has chosen to be on the path of healing. Today he has agreed to share part of his story with us to help others choose to heal. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Hi, Matt. It's great to be here. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. I really wanted to get a chance to talk to you more. Obviously we met not too long ago at a men's retreat, and I really want to kind of start there with a question. What was it that compelled you or motivated you to go to a men's retreat?
That is a really good question, and it's actually an awesome question for me because at the time I was really praying, like searching for my next step to in my healing process kind of. And I had a friend mention it to me, right? And said, you should really go on this thing. And I thought, there's no way, I don't have a schedule for that. And, but I really was looking for something at that time, something that, and what's funny is I really thought, and I don't know, maybe we'll get into this later, but I really thought it was going to bring me friends. I thought okay, well, this is a good chance for me to make new buddies. But, so that was kind of what motivated me to do it. But it was weird how things opened up for me because at the time I didn't think I had money, but then all my money came in for I teach voice lessons, and it all came in at the same time. And I'm like, oh, well, I have the money. Now it's the time. And then, it just ended up that something happened perfect, and I was able to get off school that couple days, and I don't know. Anyway, just the stars aligned, and I was like, well, there's no reason I shouldn't go. And so that's what made me book the ticket and go.
Right. But you talked about on my healing journey. And so you were already looking. So it sounds like the door opened, but this was something you were looking for and really on that journey already.
Yeah, absolutely. I had woken up to a sense of my own lostness. I don't know if you want to say that, but I think it was about a year before that, or at least the spring before that, with COVID and everything that hit, that it kind of gave me time to finally slow down. My life was just a blunder of being busy. I was just busy all the time. And it truly was a coping mechanism for me. I would just schedule my entire week out so that I didn't have to think about my own problems. Right. And finally, came to a point in spring where, I really started thinking about it and thinking, I gotta do something about this. I'm not really in a good place. And so come that, that time period in the fall, when I got that invite, I was kind of on a journey to find healing and really to find connection with other, whether it would have been other men in my life or things like that, to get on a path to healing through this. So yeah, that's exactly why I did it, is because I thought, okay, well, here's a chance for me to not only build my relationship with Christ, but also to find a brotherhood somehow.
Yeah. So, and maybe we can I do want to talk a little bit about the brotherhood, but I'm still intrigued. What was it that kind of came to the surface for you? I know for myself during COVID, I was kind of depressed, kind of angry, kind of, just frustrated. It was my business was slow for 3 or 4 months. I had nothing to do except play with the kids, which is fine. But I was feeling really worthless and useless. And normally my calling at church is very demanding. And so I can kind of throw myself into that. And we weren't going to church for months. And And so I felt a little crazy. What was it that started coming up for you?
Sure. I think things came up for me that were not to say they were deeper than what you were feeling, but they were things that I had never taken care of, like things from childhood that I had never taken care of, and things that I was avoiding. In fact, like I look back on my married life, and I had, and even in being a teenager, I had pushed away any men in my life because of kind of my childhood and things that happened. I had pushed away all men in my life since I was probably a young teen, and really did not. I mean, I was so hyper focused on my career and just my family that there was no room for that. But what it did to me is it isolated me big time. And
Right.
I mean, I was dealing with addictions. I was dealing with depression. I was dealing with codependency. I mean, there were so many things that I was dealing with that I hadn't, because I had not dealt with those things back in my childhood or back in my youth or back in the day, yeah, that I that, like I said, I really isolated myself. So that was the journey I embarked on, was to really, I mean, begin to deal with that stuff.
How were you able to deal with it? And were you? I mean, I know it's a journey. I know it doesn't happen all at once, but talk to me about where you're at now versus where you were maybe 6 months
Oh,
ago.
that's interesting, because yeah, like you said, I was kind of there dealing with all that stuff, and I really prayed about it. I prayed big time at that point. Was like, just, God, I need you to lead me to where I can find, some change, because my life can't keep going on like this. I'm not healthy for my family. I'm not healthy for myself. I didn't, and I really didn't have a good view of myself, like at all. Like I just saw myself as lower than low, right? And so I think a big deal was he led me to a counseling site on Facebook. Actually, some random counseling guy that popped up, and I like somehow had the bravery to like touch that button and say, okay, hey, I would like to talk about some of these things. So I was able to talk through a lot of my story with that
Sure.
guy, and with a group of other guys. That was really cool. And it's funny because through him, he introduced me to, he said connection is always like the answer. Connection. And he like I remember him introducing me to my first like friend buddy on the phone, and saying, all right, well, you need to talk to this another guy on the phone. And I just remember it was like being in kindergarten. I was like, hey, will you be my friend?
How did that go?
It was
What was
so
that like to
it was seriously nerve-wracking to the core. I cannot tell you how I felt, and that's how scared I was of approaching anybody else. And I literally had just pushed everyone away, pushed all, like I said, really, really isolated myself. And it was scary, because I think I was scared just the other men didn't see me the same. The other men did not see me as being worth, I don't know, being a man. And what's so funny is I look at myself now, I look back, I'm totally a masculine guy. I'm totally like this guy that does all kinds of masculine stuff too. And like I had this view of myself that was totally painted in a different way. So
and it
um
sounds like
it,
it was maybe subconscious to the point that you didn't even couldn't
oh
see
yeah,
it.
well, it'd been what, 35 years, something like that. Like I'm 46 now. So, oh, yuck. But anyway, yeah, it had been such a long time that I had just kind of been pushing all this stuff down, even since I was a young teen, right? And so, like, yeah, I totally believed it. I believed everything about it. I
And still
believed it.
until you were able to step back and say, okay, this what I'm believing about myself just isn't true, and I choose to believe something different.
Yeah, I had to have people show me that, and yeah, and eventually I had to do that. And there was a lot of self loathing too, that I had to find forgiveness, and not just forgiveness from God, but I had to find forgiveness of myself too.
And choose to love yourself, right?
Yeah, choose to love myself and choose to see myself in a different light that I hadn't painted myself in before.
Very cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a painful journey, but just the light that I see in you, the hope, because that's what I'm feeling and seeing is that you're in a different spot. So tell me about where you're at now and how your life is different.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, since that and since the retreat, because the retreat was a big part of that, like, and I haven't even told you about gone through that really
Let's
yet,
talk
but
about that, and then we can talk about afterwards.
sure, we can do that. I mean, yeah, the retreat for me was a surreal experience. It really was. It was, and what's funny is I came away with everything that I didn't really think I was going to get there. And when we talked about the One Heart One Light retreat, bringing you closer to Christ, like that was not. I wasn't even thinking about it when I went, to be honest. I mean, kind of, but and it was a good thing. And what's funny is I didn't even know my problems were. I really didn't know what my deep
Yeah.
underlying problems were. So to go there, and I remember, Matt, the first little thing, and I won't say what it is or anything, but the first thing we walked through, I was like, this is not for me. I am I'm gonna go home. I am not doing this. Is so dumb. And I really was, but I was so incredulous when I got there. And then yeah, and then we have started those meetings and kind of breaking our thought process down, and you guys did a really great job of I don't know what you call it. You call it um I don't know, guiding us through that,
Yeah,
I
it's kind
guess.
of a coaching process of
Yeah,
helping
the
you
coaching process.
self-reflect, right?
Yeah, and digging deeper beyond what we was on the surface.
Well, and I
And
think the part that for me was so powerful was tying beliefs and emotions together and showing that they just how powerfully they interact. You know,
oh yeah,
I may be feeling something, but unless I look underneath and say, "Oh,
yeah,
here's why I'm feeling this because I'm believing this about myself,"
yeah.
unless I
And
kind
what's
of make
fun,
that
yeah,
connection, I have a hard time moving beyond it.
yeah, that's incredible insight too, because that is exactly what happened, is that I was thinking. In fact, you guys would ask me, well, what's wrong? Like, what do you want to work on or whatever? And I'd be like, well, I don't see myself as this, or people don't see me this way, or I don't fit in, or something like that. And then you get down to the crux of it, and it would be something completely different, kind of, or it would be it really. And in the end, it came down to my relationship with God. Is that I really didn't believe that God loved me. I'll be honest. That's what it came down to. That He had forgiven me, that He loved me, that He really cared enough um, to really be focused on me, and help me through things. And I should have known that, but I didn't believe it for real.
Well, I
And it
think,
was through.
yeah, to your point, I think there's so much, something as simple as I am a child of God. I've sung that song
Yeah,
all my life, but to really feel it, take it in, breathe it, and there's so many other stories going around in my subconscious and in my life that say, yeah, I may be his child, but he kind of hates me right now because I suck at this and I'm no
yes.
good at that and I'm not worthy of this and that and
Mhm. And that you hit it on the head. It's how you perceive Him feeling about you. And
yeah,
I think that's what I just think I felt like God just thought I was nothing. Like, I feel like He was disappointed in me. I feel
sure,
like I took basically the world, or what I perceived was to be, whether it's my father's view, my and other people's views that I had stuck on myself since childhood, right? And I applied that to God.
sure.
So I thought He felt the exact same way about me and my own view, right? And when it kind of got down to it, and I was able to feel that was not the case, and kind of get that mode, and you went through a process where, like, I was able to, after going kind of through all those emotions and questions and whatever, then getting to go out and sit by myself and really ask in a private setting if that was true. That was a powerful experience for me. And you guys gave me that opportunity, and I don't think I would ever Yeah, sorry. I don't think I would have ever gotten that any other way, because I just wasn't slowing down my life enough to let that in. And then to see all those men up there and their version of me and how they viewed me. In fact, there was one point in that whole thing where they're like, all right, I think we were all standing in the room, you guys. So he said, like, go put your hands on the most masculine person, or who you perceive as the most masculine person in the room, or whatever. And man, to have 8 other guys come put their hands on me was pretty incredible experience for me. It did. It started changing my perception of myself. And yeah, some incredible things happened. It really did change my life.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. What would you say is your new truth, your takeaway? It sounds like you went there feeling inadequate or feeling, a certain way about yourself, and
Yeah.
you came away feeling what?
Well, a different perspective on how God sees me and how God feels about when I'm not perfect, and how God treats you when you're going through your own stuff. And then also how I had my perceptions that I had brought with me from a young man, from my parents, from things that I had placed on myself, from teachers, from bullies in high school, from all those things that led to all of this, right? To my issues. To come away with that God, he's totally above all that. I mean, it's totally different than you can think of. And then so now when I'm in any position, I mean, even when you're at your worst, I always feel God's there, trying to get you to be your best. And he's right there. He's right there with you. And he's right there, like I said, all the time.
Sure.
And not just when the sun is shining on your face, or when you're faking that the sun is shining on your face.
Right.
Right.
So how do you feel differently about yourself?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I think I got a true version of myself, or a truer version of myself. I don't think I'm all done yet. I think I've got a lot of healing to do yet.
Sure,
Like I
we all
really
do.
do.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you lots of my backstory or whatever, but I don't know if that's what you want right now. But God, the way God sees you, and the way I've started seeing other people, has really changed. So God's seeing me as, a son of God, right?
Sure.
And to know that you're a son of God, like there can't be another more masculine thing in the world, to think that you're God's son, right?
Right.
So not only that, but I've started really feeling more accepted by men in general, by friends. I started making friends. I have 4 or 5 really good friends right now that I can talk to and call anytime. I started hiking a lot, which I had started before that, but never comfortable enough to just say, hey, to get a group of guys together to go, or to go,
Right.
And man, that really changed me too, because I've been hiking like crazy. I broke my foot 2 weeks ago. No, a week ago now. Oh my gosh, while hiking. Well, no, it wasn't while hiking, sadly, but I think that's what led up to
hiking
it.
too much, you think?
Yeah, probably. But I've been enjoying it so much, and so beyond that, so physically, mentally and spiritually, I've just been able to feel more like, not only more like a man, but just more accepted by God, more accepted by myself. And yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that's changed, is my self-perception, is that I can now look at myself and be like, I like who you are, I enjoy who you are, and therefore, like, I can be more available to other people, because I'm like, oh, they might enjoy you too.
Yeah.
And then I start
And
enjoying other people too. And that's been my really big thing lately, is like, I've been, because one of the things that also helped me was really to put my past behind me there. Like at that retreat, I was able to really, really because I had gone through all the stories. I had gone through I knew exactly what has caused all this pain, right? I knew I'd gone through them all. And so I was able to finally say, you know what, that's in the past. Those lessons are there, but that's all in the past. You don't have to live in it. And the future's in the future. You don't have to worry about or live in that either. You can just be present and enjoy people in the present. And so that's been my focus lately, is everybody I'm with lately, I try to just enjoy. I try to say, oh, no matter what you're bringing to the party here, I'm just going to sit here and enjoy you. If you're sad, happy, or whatever, we're going to sit here and enjoy. And that's
be present with it.
Yeah. In my career, like with my students and stuff, I've been able to really, really be a different person, different teacher, a different, yeah.
What I hear you saying,
happier guy.
What I really hear you saying is that you pushed away people, especially men, because of how you felt about yourself. And as soon as you shifted how you felt about yourself, boom, you got friends, boom, you got, all these things going on, which again, it's all about that belief. What are you buying into about yourself now versus then? And that's huge. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, that is, you pretty much nailed it on the head. That's exactly right. And it's been a glorious thing, man. It's been really good.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I just want to end with asking, what would you say to other men who find themselves, or anyone, men or women, who find themselves feeling like you did? Do you have a piece of advice or something you would say to them?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would say, because that all started from trusting God, right? And that was a huge thing for me, is to really place my hands in God's hands, my life in God's hands, and not hold everything myself, and not trust how I thought God was seeing me instead. You know what I'm saying? So if I was going to say something, I would say, like, let God make your decisions and let him run your life right now for a while. Give him control, because that's, I think, the hardest thing we have is we don't want to give control up of our lives to God.
The illusion of control, since we don't.
Yeah, the illusion, exactly, because it's really not. You're not in control. That's right. I've had some huge, powerful lessons that have taught me that lesson, man. Some really powerful ones, and I just knew. I know that was the lesson I was supposed to learn. I was supposed to learn that I can't do this. There's no way that I'm going to figure this out on my own. That God's the only one that can figure it out for me. So I had to just kind of go day by day and let him figure things out, especially when I was getting to any kind of issue. I had to let him take over. So I guess that, and he's the one that led me to you. He's the one that led me to all these experiences, and to friends, and to this new attitude that I have. So that's absolutely it.
Very cool. Thank you. And I guess to paraphrase it, it's almost like I hear you saying, let God prevail. That's what President Nelson was talking about in one of our recent conferences, is if you let him prevail in your life, then you'll find what you need to heal those broken pieces.
Yeah, it's funny because the word enmity came up for a lot for me, and enmity, I almost think that it means something way worse than it means. But when they talk about pride being the downfall of the church, or pride, of this generation or whatever, like, I feel like it's totally what it was in my sense, but not in the sense you would think it would be. It's the sense of like the pride of literally letting him be letting God be God, and not trying to put something on him that's a construct from what you've developed through whatever craziness you've been through. Anyway,
that's a good point. Yeah. Thank you. No, it's great. I appreciate your courage to just be here today, to be open, to be honest, to be real, and to share some of your, not just your pain, but your healing process. Cause that's where I'm hoping others can hear that and be benefited on their healing journey as well. So thank you again, Marcus. We'll end with that, and I wish you the very best.
Thanks, man. Thanks for letting me talk. I appreciate it.
You bet. Take care.
All right.
Thanks again for listening to the One Heart Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe, and check us out online at oneheartonelight.org.